Okay, so now we're going to try to put just a little bit of smoke look in here. It's not too much. If you look at the original over here, you can see that it's just a little bit of something there. I'm not even sure it's smoke. I'm not sure what it is. It looks like it might be some kind of emblem that's faded out, but we'll just put a little bit of smoke in there to give it a little bit of separation. So come back over here to where we are. Now, I wanted you to notice that I've moved this background gradient out. If you're trying to follow along, I took it out of the top words here. Whoops, not the top words, the top box, words box. I took it out of here and moved it up here because I want it separated so that I can find it easily. And besides that, on top of it is where I want this smoke. So you can create smoke a lot of different ways. Some people call it haze, or some people call it fog. So it's pretty much all the same thing. If you can create your own brushes, which you'll find brushes out there a lot for smoke or fog or something like that, and they do a really good job. But you can also go find some images of smoke or create your own. And I found this one guy that went out and created some fog images, and they are actually dry ice with the smoke coming up, and they're pretty cool. And so I'm going to try to use some of those to see what they look like. So I'm going to go over to Bridge. Whoops, over to Bridge. You can see some of them here, and I picked out. I've got like, I don't know, 150 of them or something like that, which I don't know. Don't know why I got so many, but they all came in the package. You can see here's some that are fairly dim. Here's some. I wanted some that don't have this border at the top, so I would come in here and trim this off. And this one I thought about flipping it vertically and using this as the top, but it's a little too skinny, so I doubt that I'll use this one. This one has some really good stuff. Again, it's cut off by the border at the top, so I would probably come in and just kind of fade that out at the top. This one's pretty good. You've got some here. It's a little bit too dense though. I want it more transparent like this, and I might take this and just pull it out and try to use it, or this one over here. This one is pretty good too, but again, I really want less density here, more fog. That's why I like these, but I think these may be a little too dim. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a couple of them. I'm going to take this one. Actually, I'll take 3 of them. And I'm going to take this one, and I'm going to take this one, and I'm going to open these in Photoshop. So they'll come over here, and then I'll drag them over, and we'll see how they look. And whenever you get something like this, now see, if I used this one for example, all of this down at the bottom would be masked out. I just want this top little part up here. And again, you got this border, so I would fade this out at the top. Excuse me. So let's just drag this one over there. This is the image here, so I'm going to take my shift key, push my shift, and drag it over here, and then drag it back down, and it'll come in here like this. And what you do when you have a situation like this with a black background, which makes it really easy, and I'm sure that's why I did it this way, is I can just change it to screen, blend mode, and the black goes away. Now I still have this down here at the bottom, and it's really, really bright, so I would probably come in here and bring it down quite a bit, and come in and probably put a mask on it. And we'll see how it works out, but we're going to come in with the brush, and we're going to go at 100% opacity, and I'm just going to come in here and take this out, and it's probably most of this like this, and then I would come in here with my free transform. Actually, let's go ahead and apply this so that I have a smaller free transform. Oh, I guess, oh, because I didn't get everything. So you can see here that there's still a little bit down at the bottom that I didn't get, so I'm going to come in here. If you don't get that, all of it, you wind up with it being huge. So you can't see it, but you could see it over here, and that probably will do it. So now I'm going to apply that again, and now on the thumbnail you can see that that's gone. So now when I do a free transform, there's still some in there that I'm missing, but it doesn't really matter. We'll just go ahead with this, I just thought that that other would make it a little bit easier. You come in here and you can stretch it and stretch it like this maybe, and then stretch it a little bit down, something like this, and then come in here. And remember now that there's going to be girls in front of this, so I don't really need all of this down here. What I really want is just this little bit at the top up here, and it is just a little bit right there like that, and I'm going to stretch it some more like this, and I think that's going to look pretty good. Just have a little bit of smoke right there for those girls right in there, and they're going to be in front of it here. And I may actually want to bring all of this down a lot more. In fact, I'm going to come in here with the mask, and I'm going to make it 30%, my brush opacity 30%. So I just come in here and take some of this out, and I may want more than 30%. I'll come in here and I'll just start getting it like this. And this is really all I'm looking for up here. And I'm going to apply this. And I still want to stretch it some. So I'm going to come in here even more, press my shift key, and I can stretch it like this and like this. And hit enter or click on the check. And then even bring it down some more. So it's just a little bit visible. So that's not too bad right there. So you come in here and you have this little bit of something in the background there, which is kind of like smoke. I'm not really sure that gives them the same kind of look that they had over here, but it's some kind of little bit of something in there to give it a little bit of extra oomph separation. It may be a little bit too faded. I can always come back and push it up a little bit more like that, and you have a little bit of smoke in there. So this is kind of setting the groundwork for for putting the girls in here and kind of seeing how it goes. Now, I have not heard back from the coach about the schedule, so what we're going to do is we're going to improvise. We're going to put a schedule in there. I've done schedules for basketball and wrestling, so I'm just going to go steal one of those schedules and stick it in there kind of as a placeholder to kind of give us a look of what it may look like with that in there. But first I'm going to come in and I'm going to, let's see, I'm going to name this, and we're going to call it smoke or fog. You can, whichever you prefer. And we're going to save it again just to make sure we keep it saved. And we're going to go ahead and throw a couple of the girls in here and just kind of start setting the stage. And probably the next thing I'm going to do, well, and instead of the girls, I think that we're going to put the schedule in here just to make it, just so we have a placeholder, and when we put the girls in, we can kind of size them accordingly and begin to finalize the final look. Now again, as I told you earlier, the spotlights up here, I'll probably change those. I'll probably make some smaller ones, maybe less intense, maybe give it just a little bit of a different look. So let's go and get those schedules. So first thing I need to do is open up those files. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and put the schedule down here in this area, and I'm just going to grab it from one of the previous posters I've done. We're going to get it from the wrestling, the boys wrestling, and throw it in here. The color is probably going to be off, and it's going to be a little bit too big probably, but we'll resize it a little bit. But here I've already opened the wrestling, the boys wrestling. You can see the schedule down here at the bottom, the way it looks. It's a little bit bright, I'm pretty sure, for the other side. But all I'm going to do is come in here, it's under words, and right here under schedule, and you can see that I have a color fill clipped to it to make it that color. So I'm going to grab both of these and we're going to drag them over. Now the way you drag them over, again, you make sure you're on the move tool, press your shift key. Your shift key means that it's going to go over there in the same place that it is over here. So if it's down at the bottom, when I drag it over there and drag it back down here and let go, it should wind up at the bottom. So is it coming over? Sometimes, we'll try it again. shift, drag it over. Sometimes my mouse just doesn't quite work right. Here we go. There we go. So here is a schedule down at the bottom. Now it's not the same schedule that we have over here. Looks a lot different, but it is a schedule and it's a placeholder. So it's already, you can see it's a little bit small. The letters are a lot bigger than the other one, but what I'm going to do is just take it, Command T, and I'm going to stretch it out a little bit. I'm going to pull it to where it's close to the guides. You can see, just to get it to take up the entire space. Now I don't really know what their schedule is, so by doing this, again, it's just a placeholder. Press enter to save it, and now we have a schedule. Now the way that this works, if you're going, if you wanted to create it yourself, scratch, here are the layers that I've created, and if I take this layer, for example, double click on it, it's going to be this entire column, and it's just a text box, and each one of these is their own row in the text box. So whenever this comes and I actually get the information, then I'm going to double click on that and type in the information. First I'm going to see how many entries there are. This one has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 entries on each column. That one may have twice as many entries as this. If that's the case, this will need to be smaller with more columns and so on. I'll just have to reformat it based on what it is. And I also have one for basketball that is probably more involved, probably bigger than this. So I may actually go back and take that one, see if it's more appropriate. But I can before we reformat this, I just want to do whichever one is the least work. So just to make it look a little bit more in line with what we're using, I'm going to change this color. It's just a solid fill color, and I can just come in here and click on something. I can click on that, and now you can see it's much more in line with this color. So we're just going to go with that. So it just makes it look a little bit more like the way you want it to look. So now we're ready actually to put the girls in here, and I think we're going to go ahead and grab those girls and bring them all in. Now, in order to make sure that they're all sized properly, I'm not going to resize any one by one. I'm going to resize them all together. So anytime I'm doing that, that's the way I like to do it. Now, there are some girls out front, and people out front look like they're a little bit larger than people in the back. That's just the way depth works. So what we'll probably do is have a folder of the seniors and then a folder of all the underclassmen, and all the underclassmen will be sized, well, they'll all be sized at the same time, but we may actually bring down the size of the girls in the back, the underclassmen, since they are further back and should be a little bit smaller. Besides that, accentuates the folks in the front, the seniors, which is what we want to do anyway. So that's it. I'm going to close this here, and I'm going to take actually, these should be in the folder for words. So I'm going to come down here. I'm going to grab these two, and I'm going to my pointer will change. I'm going to move them down here on top of words, and this is top words here. So we're going to actually put this underneath the top words. We're going to bring it down here all the way, and let's just bring it all the way to the bottom. And then I'm going to take these and put them all in a folder and just call it words. And that way I've kind of got them identified here as to where they are, and then I can open this up and I know that schedule is down here, and I know we have top words and then the words box and so on. So it just makes it easier for me organization wise. I just have to be careful that I'm not putting something on top of something when it should be behind it. So everything looks good here. So we're going to go now and extract the girls from their background, and then the next thing we'll do is put them on here.